Gender-based violence is a global pandemic that affects 1 in 3 women. In Zambia, women experience different forms of violence, including sexual abuse, exploitation, rape, defilement, battery, among others. However, many cases go unreported for fear of victimization from people who are supposed to help them. A child activist who is also Magoba ward councillor in Kafue district, Buumba Malambo, has expressed worry over the behavior of some officers in the Victim Support Unit of the Zambia Police. Ms. Malambo, who has been counseling victims and survivors of sexual gender-based violence, SGBV, charged that most victims complain of discrimination from officers from the Victim Support Unit when they go to report. She wonders how such behavior can help SGBV victims to overcome the violence they have suffered.
I've been to some victim support unit centers. Really, the service is pathetic and it's not welcoming for a rape victim, it's not welcoming for a girl child. And you know, we need to revisit the way we handle these victims, because you find I have been in some court cases where a small little girl has to give what happened, a story of what happened to them, and they have to face the perpetrator. I think we really need to revisit how we look at rape and defilement, and look at it even in the economic and social context, because when we are looking at it that it's a women's issue, we have daughters, we have mothers, we have grandparents. I have dealt with victims that are grandparents, and they have to die with the pain that maybe a 20-year-old raped them and sexually abused them. So we really need, and the way our laws are, they are really not welcoming for women to even go to the police. I have victims that have been to the police and they just came back crying because they were just embarrassed. You go to the clinic, some clinics, really their services are pathetic, and I must condemn them, because some of our victims will go to the clinic and they'll be asked a lot of questions, they'll be laughed at because they are requesting for PEP after being abused, and they'll tell them this is your fault because you've been raped. No one would want to be raped, no one would want to be defiled. And let's look at it from a point of, if it was your daughter, if it was your mother, if it was your grandparent, how would you feel if someone defiled them or sexually abused them? So as a country, we need to invest in services that equip our people. There are very few rape centers, very few counseling centers, very few safe homes for women who are being abused, gender-based violence. They have to go back to their perpetrators, because after all, where am I going to go? But if the government has safe homes where I know if I'm being abused, I can easily go and and hide somewhere from a government safe home.
She is worried that if nothing is done, more women will be bitter and depressed and be unproductive in the country.
Women are very important and key in developing this country, because if we have women that are bitter, women that are depressed, then the skilled labor that we are fighting so hard for a girl child to go to school, for a girl child to have access to education, will really not make sense. So I'm appealing to the government to really invest in the Victim Support Unit.
She is calling on government to come on board and address the situation. Nelly Namfukwe, Movie TV News, Lusaka.